Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to Branco Broadcast on this Patriots Day 2017 here in New England. I am Bob Branco. We welcome John Bosco with us this evening. He's an attorney, a disability rights attorney, if I'm not mistaken. John, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But, John, you're involved in many other projects as well. So what I'm going to do is let you talk about them, and then when anybody has a question, they can just chime right in. Welcome, John.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So I'm calling, really kind of representing and speaking on behalf of David New, ADAaccessnow, which is the National Disability Rights Organization, and Power Access. The focus is not only on blind individuals, but David's particular disability is vision-related, and a lot of the initiatives we've been working on recently are really with that focus. I sent around, and I think, Bob, you may have mentioned it, and sent it out to the group, talking about website accessibility and some of the issues now. It's a big split in the court circuit, talking about whether the ADA and state disability rights discrimination laws apply to website and modern technologies. So that's been a huge emphasis over the past couple of years, or particularly even in the last month, with some decisions out of California saying that it does not apply. So it's been a lot of work we've done, not just, and I talked to you, Bob, about it, and some other members about how we work from one angle of with a lot of the responsible companies that are being proactive and trying to make all of their resources available to all individuals. And then on the other side, from the entities that have not, we've worked with, on the advocacy side, representing and promoting greater access across the board. So that's something we do. There's been a lot of work, not just on the legal side, but also in the artistic, really just promoting educational opportunities and really opening up different avenues and educating people about just things they don't understand, if it's things they have not personally experienced. So it's been enlightening for me over the last decade, and really just trying to work and create opportunities and awareness. So wanted to reach out. We were excited to learn about your group and see if there's any questions we could ask and make our resources available.
Steve, I just wanted to, I'm sorry, not Steve, John, I was just asking for you to verify that you are still looking for testers for website accessibility. Am I correct?
Yes, absolutely, particularly in your region.
I was just going to say that. Are you still limiting it to our region?
Not limiting, but that's just the focus because we have members across the country. And that's
because we have two members from New Jersey on the line right now, and I don't know if they're interested, but would you make New Jersey available, for example?
Absolutely. And particularly, like I told you, we do it from the compliance side. I've reached out to, I think, Steve. Steven might be on the line, and some others that we've worked with.
I'm here.
So there's things where it's not really specific to where you are, but what we're looking for is not just the automated testing and getting a lot of false hits and the problems you come back with that gives a lot of pushback because it's not really accurate. The companies we work with want to have actual functionality and learn users' experience to make everything not just functional, but make it more user-friendly and provide more interactive, positive feedback. So we need people really from anywhere, but on the legal side of it, it does help to have individuals in states where we're not previously represented.
And you're from Dallas, am I correct?
I'm based in Dallas now, born and raised in Cleveland, and started my practice up in New York. But I have 4 little kids and just kind of cost of living, ended up down in Dallas currently. But we work nationally, have a lot of work out in California, New York, Massachusetts, obviously, and down in Florida. So the law is mostly national. There's a few state statutes that implicate these issues, but it's mostly the Americans with Disabilities Act that is applicable across the country. So
who determines which websites that we test? How does the process work as far as who gets them, who decides to give them to somebody, and how does it exactly work mechanically?
Sure. So a lot of it is, at this point, we've been doing it for about a year. So a lot of companies' websites have already been addressed or at least are in the process of being addressed. Some of the companies, obviously we don't want to waste people's time. So if there's people that are working on a site and a company is willing to pay for their time, that's what we promote and we reach out to you for. And if they want individuals with a particular issue, we have low vision, and then obviously people that have complete loss of vision. So there's different issues, right? So you have the companies themselves, and then also the Department of Justice will request, hey, we have issues in this area, and we have limited resources. So therefore, we would like people in this state to provide us some feedback because we get a lot of complaints. Frankly, the squeaky wheel gets the oil is part of it. So if we get complaints about a particular site, a particular issue, those are things that we reach out to more. And we'll reach out to the groups, like you said, on your mailing list, people that have shown interest, and just ask who's available. And if people can give a few hours and provide feedback on issues they find, that's really who we reach out to. There's not a whole, it's not political, it's nothing about priority. We're really open up.
How is it determined which websites that we test?
So it's the ones that we get complaints about. It's the ones that they do periodic. So we do periodic biweekly testing of sites that are kind of in the queue, ones that have not already agreed to remediate. And when we get a lot of automated problems or reports back, we ask individuals to verify if those are real issues or not, and then reach out from there. So if there's anything, and it's really just people, members of ADAaccessnow, members of Power Access, members of your organization that encounter problems. If they report issues and they're not getting fixed over time, those are the ones that move up to the top of the priority list. And then the ones of the companies that we work with, either they're part of a class action settlement, and as part of that, there's a requirement for periodic monthly testing. And those are the ones that there's just kind of a schedule that comes through from ADAaccessnow and the board, as well as the legal requirements. And that's kind of how it kind of funnels through with the priority. And the priority shifts monthly.
Oh, boy, I have a question.
Whoever responsive and who's willing to help out.
All right,
John,
Jay has
this
a question.
is David. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Hi, David. Jay, you have a question for Mr. Bosco, and then once you finish it, I want to introduce David New. Go ahead, Jay, with your question.
Turn it over to him.
Thank you. John, you mentioned that you are not blind. Do you have any disability?
I do not. I have
You do not.
children. My oldest daughter has some physical limitations and has recently, lost some of her mobility. But the blindness issue I've really been encountered with initially through working with David's predecessors and through his organization going back about 7-8 years.
Oh, okay. Now, obviously, as an attorney, which state do you allow to practice? Because, when you become a lawyer, you have to pass the bar of each state. Which state are you officially can practice the law?
Florida and Texas.
In Texas.
So
now, when you mentioned about this website,
I'm sorry,
your federal is all over, correct? Now, when you mentioned about this website, in other words, this is your business. You're trying to identify some of these websites if they are obviously coincide with the ADA, which is accessible to the blind, and the blind are tested. If they're not, then you go after those company. Am I correct?
Not really. A lot of it, what we do is try to work proactively. I started most of my practice, and a large part is on the defense side, working for compliance, companies that want to be proactive and identify I think someone was talking earlier about how these regulations are not in place. So what we try to do is be proactive and make things accessible where there aren't regulations, right? We don't have this for the ADAG. You don't have this for ramps. I actually started with ADAaccessnow related to hospital accessibility.
That's a big
medical equipment. So those things that were clear, and we have
who's gonna pay for it?
A lot of times the companies themselves pay for it. That's the issue. And any costs that are incurred on the legal side, my firm does. We have tried to reach out and have a lot of sponsors. We have some companies under confidentiality agreements that sponsor. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't want to promote their sponsorship of it, and that's something that David can talk to a little bit. He deals with, but a lot of these companies pay for it and support it either through legal obligations or through pure voluntary. Really, David's seen it better than I have, even from a personal standpoint, but where they've done it for altruistic means and methods and fundraising for sponsorships of different concerts, things that we do down in South Florida. And so to pay, no money ever would come from an individual or from the advocacy groups themselves. It all comes from corporate sponsorship or legal obligations and fund settlements, things of that nature.
Right.
All right, I do want to introduce David New to the group. David, this is Bob Branco with Branco Broadcast. Welcome to the program. We want to hear from
Thank you, Bob.
Then my participants can ask both you and John additional questions. Go ahead, David.
Okay, it's good to be here. Where shall I get started?
Wherever you want.
Are you guys more interested? I'll tee this up a little bit. Bob, is your audience more interested in the legal side of it, or do you want to hear David's done a lot of work on the artistic, on the education side, and promoting different opportunities? And David, maybe if you want to start talking about some of the work you did with what you talked about most recently with Miami and the crosswalks, things like that really got you empowered in this area.
Okay, no problem. Well, I moved to Miami Beach in about 2005, and although it was a great platform for people with disabilities because of its flat surface and the neighborhood is easily walkable and pedestrian friendly, there were many issues with crossing streets, 4- and 5-lane intersections that were very busy and lots of drivers with not the best driving records. So I approached mayor's office at City Hall and I said, let's install some of these audible pedestrian signals. And they said, well, why don't you come over and check out our Disability Access Committee at City Hall. We meet every month, and you might be able to accomplish what you're looking to do through that resource. And so I went over there and I met everybody on the committee, and this was years ago now, but I was very intrigued, and I went every month. I told them about my ideas, and I kept coming back, and finally they gave me an opportunity to be a member of the committee, and I took that opportunity. And then after a short time, I was elected the chair of that committee and finally had an opportunity to speak to the mayor in person. And I said to her, what can we do to get to install these audible pedestrian signals in Miami Beach? They're for blind and deafblind individuals, and they actually help everybody, even sighted people. And she said, why don't you go ahead and bring some awareness to your committee somehow? And I thought about it for a minute, and I said, well, what about an event, a disability kind of awareness event? And she said, well, yeah, I could get behind that. And we started planning the first Disability Awareness Day on Miami Beach in South Beach, Miami. And we had all kinds of events planned for that day, including a resource and technology expo, and we did a taping of a cooking show called Cooking Without Looking For and with blind people, and I believe some of you might have heard of that show.
I had Renee Redmeester on the show on January 2nd.
Mm-hmm. Right. So we had all kinds of events planned, and that was the impetus for the first audible pedestrian signals to be installed. And in fact, we had a ribbon cutting ceremony on that first Disability Awareness Day almost 10 years ago. And I was so pleased and so happy that what we did created the outcome that we were looking for that I decided to start my own organization, which is Power Access, to continue those events, to bring awareness to the community about people living with disabilities. And so Power Access was born, and from then we've done dozens and dozens of different events, including wheelchair basketball events, 5K runs. We've done Dining in the Dark, citywide, maybe 1,000 people all at once throughout the city dining in the dark. I'm very proud of the business luncheons that we've created with the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce. We've had speakers, many celebrity speakers who have spoken of their own challenges in life, and we've given awards to entities and companies who have been instrumental in making their services and products accessible for people with disabilities. And we've also had music symposiums and comedy festivals. And in fact, last year was the first year that we created the South Beach Jazz Festival, where we had over 100 musicians performing, in which at least one person in each group performing was a person with a disability. Our headliners were Grammy Award-winning artists like Diane Shore and Raul Midan, and it was very successful, and in fact we're planning this year's event as well. So where is it that I can lead you from here? I want to specifically say that, all this work that I've done over the years has the ultimate responsibility of creating awareness throughout my community and throughout the country and the world about what it means to be a person with a disability, and also to have challenges with access to things. And access is paramount. And of course, I want to ensure that becomes better for all of us. And when you have better accessibility for people with disabilities, I strongly believe that it's more accessible for everyone, really.
Yeah, and I can tell you from my perspective, I've been amazed with what David's been able to accomplish and getting the attention of really Fortune 50 companies, and as well as connecting with civic leadership, just putting people in those experiences where you're dining in the dark and really interacting. We've had some amazing lunches and experiences where people have really connected, and the feedback we've gotten afterwards of hearing about these issues and litigating about them in a negative, adverse way, and really changing their perspective after really being enlightened and educated. So it's been a phenomenal experience.
Yeah, this is Steve. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
Steve, go ahead.
I think it's all about the networking, because when you found me, John, I hadn't been on LinkedIn for like a couple months, and you said you found me on LinkedIn, and then you showed me all the stuff with Dave's organization, and what he failed to mention is that he was in all the newspapers and so I think there's a lot of us out there, but with the online stuff, we're able to get more, together, and that internet is really important because it just makes things faster. And, in the old days, you had to write letters, but I was just amazed that, like when I was reading your profile and I found you online and all that, how all this experience you had with labor, and, of course you do a lot with disability, but it was just, I just think we have, like you said about the signals, it helps everybody. So we just have to get together and try to find some common ground, because a lot of people are like, well, it has to be accessible, and people get understandably upset. But I think if we just try to get more education, we're going to be a lot better than, litigation has its place, but I think this is a better way to do it.
Well, I agree with you, and I have to say one of the essential events that we produced was a disability simulation with the mayor and the commissioners at Miami Beach City Hall, which we've done several times now, where we blindfold certain individuals and put them in wheelchairs and cover their ears to simulate a sort of disability for a day, where they have to attempt to do their work at their desk or in City Hall or around the city with having this challenge. And I think that has made one of the biggest differences in accomplishing more access for people in the city that I live in. The mayor and commissioners each spoke about their experience after the simulation, and they really, in a heartfelt way, explained their experience and how it even brought some of them to tears. Some of them, have their own challenges, of course, and some have children with disabilities, and even the mayor just this past season said to me personally, I will never forget this for the rest of my life. And that's the point, is for people to sort of take away that experience, and people who are making decisions for the citizens who live in their city need to know what it's like for us. And I think it's made an incredible difference.
And I'm sorry, just one more little quick thing. Where do people, how do you recruit? Like you said, people tell you about the website problems, and do they go to a website and do that, or
they can go to ADAaccessnow.
ADAaccessnow, is that an org.org or
it's ADAaccessnow.org.
Okay, thanks.
You can also send me an email, which is probably the quickest way. It's just david@sobijazz.com. That's DAVID@SOBEJAZZ.com. And, there I have many other emails, but that's the easiest one. And also you can check out the SoBeJazz.com website, which I'm particularly proud of, and we're planning an incredible event for January of next year.
David, I just tested a website several days ago. John was kind enough to send it to me, and I reported an A+ on it. Now, what's the next step in the process? Now that I gave it the thumbs up, what happens now?
So with that one, if it's good, like I said, these specifically on the website issue, and David sees this all the time, these are living, breathing entities, right? So the site may be perfect now. What we do is try to do periodic follow-ups, because a lot of these entities will say it's perfect, and then you put up new content, and there's outside new things go up. So we set up a schedule to either have you test again or have someone else test again and find out, and we cross-reference all the reporting and feedback we get.
Well, if you've gotten a report from one of us saying that it's a perfect website, I would assume that the person who made the site would hear about this report. Why would they want to make any additional changes once they hear that?
Just because they put up new content, right? So there's new marketing, right? If there's new information that's updated on it. A website, it's stagnant if you don't change it periodically. And what happens is if there's someone who's not looking at it for accessibility reasons, they can put up new content, and it'll change the platform of the coding. And then
more graphics.
All kinds of
stuff.
Graphics will be explained. For deaf individuals, there may not be, they think it's great that they put up this video, but there may not be any closed captioning.
Yeah.
So they would change it just for marketing reasons. Or for
how many sites are you looking at? How many sites do you do? I know it varies probably, but is it hundreds or dozens or thousands?
Probably in the 100 range. It's really things that kind of come to us organically. Right. We're not out looking for problems or issues, or things that come to us. And then things that come out through companies that request this type of service, request this type of feedback. And like Steve was saying, it's great that these resources are out there because everyone's on their smartphone. Technology has opened up resources where you fix one thing on a local level, and you're opening up resources to millions of people across the world. So these little small fixes open up the universe to it. And it's a great combination of thinking and acting locally, like what David and the groups do, to really get someone's attention on a personal level, but at the same time having impact that is so much larger because you can extrapolate it. So there's really the two areas we try to come at it and have the greatest impact personally, and then with the greatest impact across the board. So, Bob, with your group and your resources and your contacts, we'd love to communicate directly back to us, things we can reach out to you, just like the update we gave you on the case log today, updates on technology, and a lot of it's in a really positive way. When companies put out new applications, we like to promote it, and when there's issues that come up, we like to address those. So
I understand that there is a pay for this work. Is this correct?
Sometimes, yeah. The company issue where if there's any kind of hourly rate we can do, we absolutely compensate that and invoice it right up front. And a lot of times, if it is through litigation or issues like that, there is kind of an incentive claimant type payment. And David, without talking about any particular companies, there's been several, if not probably 20, 30, 50 entities that have paid $1,000, $2,000 incentive payments for reaching out and being the voice of the individual that helps test and bring these issues to light. Absolutely.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I guess I have one since nobody else. Do you consider it an accessibility issue? Because I guess I don't want to mention the website's name, but they have a lot of links, and I can do it, but it's just frustrating because there's like so many links, and it's just we're kind of learning where everything is. I mean, it doesn't seem like it seems like it's a visual kind of setup, but I mean, it can be done, but it takes so long to do it because there's like 200-300 links sometimes on a page. I mean, do they consider that an accessibility issue, or it's just like badly made website?
When you say they, I know we do. I know the Department of Justice has been very clear. They've provided statements of interest in support of AccessNow over the years, and still really promote that now without the WCAG or any other regulations out there. It absolutely is an accessibility issue because you can't do it independently, and it slows it down from your navigation and your interaction with sites and technology as opposed to people that don't have the disability.
But wouldn't it be visually too? If you even someone that could see perfectly, if they have to read 200 links, it's like I don't know, because I could see before a lot better. I mean, now I'm on the strictly JAWS level with the computer because my site isn't, it's not worth it. So, but it's like when JAWS tells me 126 links and 75 headers, it's like, I mean, it's frustrating, but it's like, so I guess you're saying it could be an accessibility issue as well, right?
We think it absolutely is. What we really try to do through structured negotiations and communicating on the proactive level is not getting caught up in the legal technicalities of if you're in violation or if it's a problem under 300 pages of code. It's just like any individual, whether you're disabled or not. Hey, this is a customer service issue, right? There's people that anyone can't get the information or the resources you want them to get. So instead of fighting over whether it's technically a violation, hey, this is something that we're adding value by providing you feedback and making it better.
And of course, sometimes they don't want you to get certain information. Like I've had many challenges. Well, just the companies themselves.
Companies that work.
Not wanting to give out their phone number. They will make it very difficult for you to contact the company, and then when you do, you have to fill out a form or submit it some other way, or there's already a CAPTCHA image, which that's always a challenge. After you find go through all of the links and you find a way to contact them, and then you get to the bottom of the form, and then there's a CAPTCHA image, and you're out of gas. So
and then one time that sometimes you go through all this stuff and you end up back where you started. It's like, are they doing this on purpose?
Exactly. Right. And then what happens is that they lose your business.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And if they are aware of that, you would think that they would want to at least make it accessible so that they could sell their product.
Yeah.
Nope. So we consider all those issues. It's a slow process and it's tedious, and we've been going through it for years, but we really appreciate it. It's really a grassroots effort. It takes effort and time, and we've had some phenomenal successes and frustration.
Bob, may I make a comment?
Joni,
please.
Joni, go ahead.
one of the chief problems that I have is when you purchase something, they want you to do a survey on how well it worked or all this stuff. And generally, I have difficulty doing those surveys unless I think it's called Monkey Survey or something like that. That I find very easy to use, and I love that. But they use these surveys where you don't know where to fill in what.
Oh, yeah.
And then I don't know if I'm the only one that has that difficulty.
No, you're not.
No, that's absolutely
you're not.
a challenge.
No.
And, that's something that we also have to bring into the conversation when approaching a company or an entity about their accessibility is that, hey, it's not just one thing. It's not just your emails. It's not just your website. It's all of these things. It's everything working together that needs to be addressed.
So it really helps having a volume of feedback from multiple individuals, from multiple sources across the country, different states, because one of the biggest ones we've been working on recently, they've spent an obscene amount of money making their website and different features accessible, but then they'll send out emails to existing customers, clients, subscribers, and that's completely inaccessible. So really just bringing that to their attention, a lot of it's good faith. They just don't know, or they don't realize that it's worth it until they realize there's actually not one or two squeaky wheels complaining. This is something that's affecting a significant portion of individuals. So volume, it helps getting it from multiple sources, and having thousands of members and impacts like that, it makes a real difference. So all those issues, no, we appreciate the feedback and appreciate the patience that it's not always as fast as we would like with some of the improvements. But we've had phenomenal strides over just the last few months.
And I would agree with you, John, that just having more members is essential in our struggle to improve accessibility in more states and spread out throughout the country. And just by sending us a quick email would make a world of difference for you, specifically in the state that you live in, and for everyone else as well.
Yeah, so thank you, Bob, for everyone for doing what you do, and it's really enlightened me and people I've worked with over the last several years.
Well, it's our pleasure, and I'm hoping that others get involved as well. I've encountered many websites over the years where graphics and captures prohibit me from doing all that I want to do, and it's so easy for the public to say, do everything online. This is the time that we live in now. Everything's online. Well, that's all well and good. But if I can't get online and do what I want to do because of a capture or a graphic, then what good is this modern technology for the blind?
Exactly.
You're absolutely right.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. If you're the best resource, we'll send you links and information, and please have any...
Yeah, John, keep it coming, and thank you for being with us, for taking the time to talk about this with everyone. David, you too. It was a pleasure meeting both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Take care.